If you are anything like me, you're probably tired of companies just refreshing their product lines with RGB updates, and you're confused by why every manufacturer and their dog has to get in on the mechanical keyboard game. Both of these concepts are so tired. It's hard to find a reason to care about anything in the peripheral market anymore. I mean, searching for Newegg for the generic term mechanical keyboards yields 22 pages of results, with many of them having the same array of the same 16.8 million color per key lighting. Is there any company out there that can rescue us from the monotony? Well, ASUS thinks they can, and they sent over the Claymore keyboard for me to check out. It's actually an interesting and fresh perspective on a market segment that's been overrun with pageantry and questionable levels of innovation. Yes, it still holds the same tenet that RGB is better than a single color, but I mean, look at it. It's so dang beautiful. So dang beautiful. Especially since it combines with the Aura lighting software, you've got the possibility of having your graphics card, motherboard, RAM, mouse, and the Claymore keyboard all in sync at the same time. Beauty, so much unity, so much RGB goodness. Say what you want about other manufacturers who choose to just slap RGB on their products and call it a day, ASUS appears to actually have a well-implemented plan for their lighting ecosystem. Now, continuing on with the rest of the aesthetics before talking about the unique features of the keyboard, the texturing of this board is an etched design on the aluminum construction, which ASUS claims is Mayan-inspired, which rounds off the bottom of the keyboard with an illuminated ROG logo. On the underside of the keyboard, it's again really well designed, with a clean aesthetic being a matte black setup with a bit of branding, a couple of non-slip pads, a couple of height stands on either side, and grooving for the included braided micro USB cable. The cable insert area has some nice guiding tracks to make sure the cable stays firmly in place even if you accidentally trip on the wire getting up from your desk, although not too many people will have that problem. Also, to make sure you're inserting the cable incorrectly, the ROG eye always faces out. Fun fact. On either end of the keyboard, you'll find some rubber fittings which reveal contact points to attach the main selling feature of the Claymore, the removable numpad. Now, before you go rolling your eyes that I called the removable numpad a key feature, just listen a bit further. It's not only just a numpad. No, my friends, this numpad can also be used to control your computer's volume. Boom! Hidden feature. Although I must admit the scroll wheel for the volume is a bit tougher to move than I would like, but it is a nice inclusion. But here's the actual cool part. It also has the ability to be swapped to either side of the keyboard to function as either an accounting typewriter on the right or an MMO masher on the left, with full programmability in the ASUS Armory software setup. Now, I want to take a moment and thank ASUS for making the rubber stoppers that go into the sides of the keyboard and numpad to cover the contact points fully reversible. It's a small touch for making covering them up a much easier experience. You don't have to find which one goes for the left side or the right side. You can use whichever one you have handy, and that's a much easier experience than it otherwise could have been. Additionally, swapping between either side with the 10-key commuting piece is a painless process, just as the rubber stoppers are. Done with your office work for the day and ready to hit up some WoW, pick it up from the right side, align the contact pins, and slide it on down on the left side. The macro piece is recognized nearly instantly and also immediately falls in line with the keyboard's current color scheme. Dang it, you forgot to add one last line item to your spreadsheet before you can indulge on your next dungeon raid? Again, requires no more effort than lifting a hot pocket. You're about to hit the road and have limited space in your backpack to take your peripherals along with you? Well, the Claymore makes the perfect TKL companion when you just leave the numpad behind. Adaptable to nearly any need. The most versatile keyboard I have ever seen. The ASUS Armory software is fairly intuitive, with the ability to set various profiles of whatever features you want for the keyboard. There's the ability to customize the lighting on the keyboard to various different effects, or a toggle button to sync it with any other Aura lighting components you may have. Macros are a thing as well, and then you can even track hotspots with an included utility so you can analyze your gaming patterns. Overall, it's a good bit of software. The only complaint that I have is the display of the Claymore is always with the 10 key on the right side, like a standard keyboard. It would be really helpful for customizing keys if it was a dynamic image based on where you had the numpad, so that you can map buttons out visually instead of having to imagine the numpad on either side. It's a minor annoyance, but overall, ASUS provides everything you need to do what you want with the Claymore. The fully programmable, individually backlit keys come with Cherry MX switches in red, blue, brown, or black, with ASUS South Africa sending me their MX Red keyboard. No complaints from me. High quality gaming switches for a high quality gaming product. Now let's take a look at pricing. In the US, the Claymore comes in at a hefty $250, pitting it up against the ultimate premium offerings from other manufacturers. In South Africa, the Claymore comes in at just under 4,000 Rand. That makes it the most expensive keyboard in South Africa by some margin. The question has to invariably come up. Is the Claymore worth that price? Well, let me answer your question with a question, or questions rather. What's the acceptable premium for innovation? How much do you get to charge when you have a product that none of your competitors can match on the market right now? The ROG Claymore has to be the most unique keyboard that I've ever come across. And while it may be too rich for my blood personally, ASUS is fully within their right to command a high price for this original piece of quality tech. It's wonderfully well constructed, a fresh perspective in a market segment that feels as original as a spork, and I didn't mention this yet, but has the best packaging I've seen for a keyboard. I mean, a cloth carrying bag for your keyboard? Who does that? I'm not complaining, it's an appreciated touch, but not something I was expecting for a gaming peripheral. But I want to know your thoughts on the ROG Claymore. Do you think you would fully utilize its versatility? Would you pay 4,000 Rand or just over $300 when converted for a mechanical keyboard? Keen to hear your responses down below in the comments. And while you're down there, be sure to hit that like button to show support for me and my videos. You can also pop that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date on all of my tech-related content. And I just want to close off this with a thank you to ASUS South Africa for sending the Claymore over for me to review. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.